Hey, let's get messy, son. If this is what it's going to take to get changes done, let's get negative. What am I talking about? So it looks to seem like Mikey Sainristil liked the comment on Instagram that was simply calling out Whitt Jr. for his poor play this year. Let's talk about it.
Shout out to Juan Gotti talking sports. You know what it is.
Shout out Juan Gotti talking sports.
The way that we live is not for everybody.
Nah, that ain't it, y'all.
How do you think the rest of Jaden Daniels' career is going to go? If we're, 6, 7 games into Jaden Daniels' career, and he's already milking injuries? Like,
Stop saying my name, you dick riding bastard. I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she fly for him, and Shawty is the winner. You can tell that Shawty love again now, she's confident.
Before we get any further into today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, SeatGeek. If you're trying to go to a game, concert, or any live event, SeatGeek is the place to go. I actually got my tickets for week 1 against the New York Giants using SeatGeek, and honestly, I use it for all my event purchases. What I love about SeatGeek is how simple it is to find the best deals. They rate every seat on a scale from green to red. Green means you're getting a great deal, red means it's a little overpriced. That way you know you're buying with confidence and getting your money's worth. Plus, they even offer protection ticket plans so you don't have to worry about your tickets getting lost or stolen. And the best part about it all is they're hooking y'all up with the code. Use Juan Gotti at checkout and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. Again, use code Juan Gotti at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase. So what's up, y'all? As you know, I'm often on social media. That's why I urge you all to follow me on Instagram at Juan Gotti Talking Sports, TikTok Juan Gotti Talking Sports, and X. Because when you're on social media, you see a lot of things that you don't typically see when you're out there watching these players at practice, at the games, in the press conference, because they're not going to say a lot of these things. But on social media, that's a whole nother world for them. They're not on the clock, they're not in the building, so they could theoretically post and like whatever they want. And recently, Mikey posted a picture of him and his wife. First, must I say, bro, there goes, bro. There goes. Mikey's like my age, but he's already married with a beautiful family. Has a ton of animals, bro. Like, that's literally goals, bro. That's another reason why he's like one of my favorite players. Not just because of his play on the field, but just because of that. That's exactly what I want to have one day, right? And it was a picture of them at the game on Sunday. In the comments, somebody posted something along the lines of this: congratulations, what he's talking about, his wife and Mikey. But he says, why has your play on the field declined, like drastically? So the person that made the comment wasn't being negative, was not being, nasty. Just like, I mean, your play on the field has declined this year. And theoretically, it has, right? Like, I love Mikey. He's my favorite defensive player. But it has declined. At least to us, it looks like that. But you can make that case for everyone. Frankie Louvu, anybody. You could say that the play has declined drastically. And under that comment, I don't think he expected for Mikey to respond, because clearly Mikey isn't going to say, oh yeah, this is what's wrong. Or I don't think he expected anyone else to respond, but they did. And this is what was said. The person that responded to the first comment and said, you're wrong. It ain't him. His play hasn't declined. It's the system, but this ain't the place to talk about it. And you want to know what that got? A like by Mikey Sainristil. Hey, that does not sound like a lot, but that sounds like a lot. You ever heard the saying, you said enough without not saying it? Like, you said a lot without talking. That's essentially what Mikey Sainristil did. And if you have any kind of knowledge of football, it's not hard to say Whitt Jr. is a big reason why this defense has declined. Now, am I going to sit up here and act as if everything has been on Whitt Jr.? No, but majority of the reason for the decline of this defense has been because of the personnel, has been because of the play calling, has been because of the lack of putting your skilled players in position. My biggest thing, and I've been defending Mikey all year long, my biggest thing to fans that had the question of why has his play drastically changed, to me, my first thought is, do you really think in a year he just forgot how to play football? He's just all of a sudden trash? He's just all of a sudden not good? That is blasphemy to me. Like, that is so hard to believe. When you go back to Mikey Sainristil's tape last year, what was a lot of his key plays? It was him being a playmaker, right? Making plays on the ball, being around the football. That is who Mikey Sainristil is. That is what got him drafted that high. That's just who he was at Michigan. He's a former wide receiver, so his DB, so his hands, his catching, his playmaking ability on the football is outstanding. That's why he would be made a great DB. And this year, they're asking him to do more. They're asking him to be a coveraging corner. They're asking him to go mano-a-mano with Jackson Smith and Njigba. Now, what do you expect to happen? Now, I'm not trying to defend Mikey at the end of the day to the point where I'm like, you don't need to cover. You do. You are a cornerback, so you're going to be asked to do that. But my biggest thing with Whitt Jr. and that reason why I'm putting majority of the blame for Mikey's, fall off this year, I air quote that, because you're not putting him in positions to use his strong suit ability, the things that made him who he was, the reason we drafted him. Mikey Sainristil is a playmaker. Get him by the football, get him around the football. For damn sake, he's the only guy on this defense that can make plays on the football, i.e. Kansas City, i.e. Seattle, i.e. LA. He forced the fumble. He's the only guy that seems to know how to somewhat force turnovers. And even right now, to an extent, it has a cap on it because he makes plays, don't get me wrong, but a lot of his plays are, at least this year, have been when we were out of it or it was late. You know what I mean? It never has been anything this season, at least, to where we can really use, if you get what I'm saying. We're already down 21 at that point, right? My favorite play ever that I think Mikey was obviously the Detroit divisional game, right? James Williams had a window wide open and Jared Goff tried to seed it in there, and right before half, Mikey made that interception. But again, essentially what I'm saying is Mikey Sainristil is a dog. Mikey Sainristil is a playmaker. He needs to be utilized as such. And him liking that is theoretically sending shots at Whitt Jr., calling Whitt Jr. out indirectly and saying, hey, buddy, you're using me wrong. And why does it take for fans to say something like that? Where we're fans. This guy that commented that got Mikey's reaction to like his comment is a regular fan. Does not get paid millions of dollars by the organization. Is not a coach. But he says something as simple as it's the system, not Mikey. And if for whatever reason, it's like it's rocket science to these coaches. But us fans understand, you put Mikey down by the football, down by the line of scrimmage, have him blitzing, have him being a spy, just having him be a game wrecker. That is who he is. It seemed like we get it. I guarantee you see how good Nick Umawari is. You see how good Devin Witherspoon is. That is literally Mikey Sainristil. You give Mike McDonald Mikey Sainristil, he's turning him into an all-pro. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. You give Mike McDonald Mikey Sainristil, he's turning him into a beast. Mikey Frozone is a beast. He's a dog. He's not a shutdown corner. He's not a guy you ask to go one-on-one with someone for a long periodic time, or for that matter, their best receiver. And let me say this. Can I say that? Can I go on record and say this? Because a lot of you all were disagreeing with me at the time last year, but I said it countless times. Go back to the videos. Mikey Sainristil is a better outside corner than he is inside. I said it multiple times, and I stood on it, and I stand on it to this day. A lot of people, including the coaching staff, want to force him inside the slot because he's small, he's frail. So what? I'm not saying he's Darrelle Revis. I'm not even saying he's Brent Grimes, but those are examples of smaller frame cornerbacks that has had success on the outside. So it doesn't matter about size, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you're in the slot, who's to say they can't put a Mike Evans inside? Who's to say they can't put a DK Metcalf still in the slot? Who's to say you can run away from CeeDee Lamb just because you're in the slot? Like, regardless of where you're at on the field, you're going to match up with these guys. So I'd rather you be matched up on the boundary if that's your strong suit, and also to the point where you have somewhat of an extra defender because the sideline is your friend. Inside is you versus him. You gotta win. And that's not who Mikey is. Mikey's a playmaker. Mikey wants the football. Mikey's the only guy on this defense that can take away a football. And I could be looking too much into it. But remember, Whitt Jr. called out the players. He didn't take no accountability a couple weeks ago when the defense was struggling. But now it's your turn to take some accountability. Joe Whitt, you're coming down to the sideline, whoop-de-doo. That ain't gonna change a thing. Defense still gonna get fried. What, you want to get an up close and personal view of this defense? Like, that's not gonna change anything. And I'm all for this. I know I'm not a messy person. I'm not a negative Nancy. I don't like drama. But I'm all for this. You want to know why? Because I know Mikey's a damn good player. But you also want to know why that is? Because we continue to hire these loyal coaches that doesn't make a move into the last minute. What am I talking about? What am I referencing? I am referencing Ron Rivera. Yes, remember, when we had Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, one of his good friends, another defensive-minded guru, both were linebackers, right? Jack Del Rio's defenses were horrible stands for a couple of seasons. They were horrible. And Ron Rivera was so loyal to Jack Del Rio. When players weren't getting along with his scheme, Jamin Davis, remember Jamin Davis made that post basically calling out Jack Del Rio. That's what I connect this to. It's not as direct as Jamin Davis, because Jamin Davis actually made a post and then Jack Del Rio had to make some comments in the press about it and kind of cover it up. But essentially what I'm saying is Rivera was so loyal to Jack Del Rio until fire got to him. At first it was Jack Del Rio who had all the fire. Everybody wanted Jack gone, Jack gone, Jack gone. Once it got to Ron Rivera's job being in jeopardy and fans wanting Ron Rivera gone, that's when he decided to pull the trigger and say, you know what, Jack, I'm gonna let you go. So that way, that buyed him some more time to deflect all the issues on, oh, it was Jack. I could throw Jack under the bus. It was Jack Del Rio. That's where we're headed down the path with Dan Quinn, if we don't make a change now. And I'm hoping Dan sees this. Okay, he sees the issues that we're having and he says, you know what, Joe, you're my guy. I gave you opportunity, but it's just not working out. You ever think about why it may have taken him 17 years to finally get this opportunity to become a defensive coordinator? We always look at it in a positive light, like, well, he's hungry. He's been waiting 17 years for this opportunity, man. He's gonna take full advantage of it. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that. He's ready. Well, flipping that coin on his head, how about looking at it more of a reality standpoint? So, you know what? Maybe this is why you couldn't get a defensive coordinator job for 17 years, because you're ass. Maybe that's what it was. But hey, look, if I had to pick one, Mikey or Joe Whitt Jr., sayonara, Joe Whitt. Don't let the door hit you on your way out. You know what I mean? Because you can't sit up here and tell me all of a sudden Frozone's just not good. Like, that is beyond me. You can't just sit up here and tell me Frankie Louvu is just not who he was last year. That was just an anomaly of a season. Like, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Like, to an extent, I give him some benefit of the doubt because injuries have compiled this roster both offensively and defensively. But what I can't give him the benefit of the doubt for is not playing Jordan McGee, not taking Bobby Wagner off that field, or at least putting him in other positions, not having Frankie Louvu rush the passer consistently. You know what I mean? The lack of adjustment second half. It sounds very Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio-ish. We're having the same issues. So I hated that it came to this point, but I'm here defending my guy Frozone through and through because I know Mikey is a dog. That's my dog right there. That's my guy. He's a beast. I know he is, and I mean, like, come on, we know who he really is. And if anyone's at fault, it's Whitt Jr. for the most part, and clearly Mikey feels the same way as he sent some shots at him, not super shots, but come on, he liked the comment that wrote out, "It's not him, it's the system." Come on, who else could he be talking about? So that being said, let me know what you guys think about this video down below in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. We're on the road to 12,000 subscribers. As always, be your boy Juan Gotti. Love each and every one of y'all. Y'all have a blessed one. Stay safe. Be easy out there. Peace.
Ballin' like I'm D-Sean, throw the bomb, G. That's IG, my jersey, never seen a laundry.